it's.
Do you ever think about buying a home? I don't know if it's a good idea financially. Like I'm,
Yeah, I
but
was so I was gonna do that this year, but obviously the market was so funky, and it seems like it's gonna like fall off the cliff. And so honestly, like what I've been doing is waiting on the market to fall off that cliff. So
Mhm.
God, I don't want to throw
Nah, go to
like
Texas.
no, because I don't want to throw like
What's that weed?
$500,000 at something, and then next year that $500,000 house could have been a $750,000 house. It's like, man, because the difference is huge. Like, I don't. There's first world problems here, but the difference between a $250,000 house and like a $400,000 house really isn't a ton. But when you go from 400 to like 600 or 700, it's like, oh shit,
Yeah.
y'all added like another fucking house and made everything nicer.
Yeah.
It's a big step up.
But Texas is really crazy, and I don't imagine that the prices would drop there, because it's like I can't believe how big these houses are for the amount that the people like are paying.
what did you mean by
Plus,
crazy?
you could get guns again.
Not sure about that. What did you mean Texas
What do you
is crazy?
mean? Oh, Texas is like, I've seen like $700,000 houses that would cost $5 million in Canada easily.
Exactly. Because all right, so what you're starting with
Canada,
the piece of land that you're sitting on, right? Like, so I grew up in that you've been there, little Franklin County, Georgia. And so property there, like where my dad is, like when I was growing up, that land was $5,000 an acre. It's still only like $10,000 an acre or something like that. But if you buy property right there on the lake, it's $250,000, and they don't even cut it into acres anymore. They cut it into like quarters and halves of acres. It's the same thing. You go out to Texas and they're like, yeah, we got plenty of land. Like what do you it's probably $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 an acre. It's not like building a house right in the suburbs somewhere where like the piece of property that I'm sitting on right now, God knows. I bet
it gets really cheap. I was watching a YouTuber. Now, this isn't where you'd want to live because it doesn't have utilities and everything's 40-minute drive away. But it was $287 an acre. $287. Like that is an acre is a little over free.
Yeah. There at that point it becomes, what kind of utilities can we expect out here? What kind of internet capabilities, electricity,
where's the Costco?
The cost? Oh, the Costco.
Yeah, the store.
Yeah.
Well, I see a place and I'm like, you could have nothing. You got a Costco and a Walmart here. I'm like, let's go, bro. This is a viable location to begin a life.
Yeah. When you live on the East Coast here, you don't even realize how remote places can be, like even in America. That I've gone on all these motorcycle trips now, so my eyes are open to it. I went on a trip. This wasn't a bike trip, but anyway, last year, and I got strep throat. I couldn't see a doctor until Monday. It started on Friday. Like I was really suffering. It was hard to breathe.
Oh, yeah,
it was hard to eat. I was really, really having a hard time. And like really no doctors in like 90 minutes. That sucks. That super sucks. I go on these long trips and it's like, you can't buy a GoPro within 200 miles of this spot. That doesn't happen here. I don't know how many GoPros are in Raleigh. There must be 100.
Do you ever?
There's someone ready to go pick you up a GoPro and bring it to you where you live right now.
I think you're right.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. Do you ever process that? Like, man, if I hurt myself here, I'm on my own, and it's going to be like a helicopter, or I'm going to have to tough it out for miles. Because I remember we were in the middle of nowhere in New Mexico on your BLM land. We had driven off of a lonely road for an hour and a half. But what you got to keep in mind is it's not that fast hour and a half down a road. It's like off-road, driving through canyons and like over washed out riverbeds and stuff. We're in the wilderness, 4x4 only shit. And we were shooting that minigun off the top of that hill, and the round exploded on the inside of my thigh, like where your femoral artery is. And I didn't know I thought I might be shot. It burned and it hurt bad. And I had seen the flash and the explosion, but we finished shooting and said the thing. And then I immediately jerked my pants down. There's like two women there and like all my friends. And I like jerked my pants down, fucking butt naked. And there's a cigar burn on the inside of my thigh where that round had exploded and just burnt the shit out of me, but not.
Can you help me understand the mechanic of the injury? Like A bullet seemed to hit you, but it didn't hit you
So,
hard. I don't understand.
keep in mind, it's a minigun I'm shooting, so it has that big belt that's being fed by an electric motor that's powered by a 12-volt car battery. It's spooling up, so it's forcing those through that belt at an incredibly fast rate, 4,500 per minute. And one of them exploded in the belt against my thigh. So I don't know what part of it hit me or what part of it burned me at all. It was almost dark when we shot it, for effect. So I just saw an explosion happen next to my thigh and had the big nasty burn on my inner thigh.
A round went off in the belt.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Wow.
Or like burst like I don't think like, oh, the bullet took off like it came out of a gun. It's more like the
needs a barrel for that. Yeah.
Yeah, it sort of blew up like a little mini 308 caliber hand grenade. I guess, or something like that. But in that moment, I was real scared because there was no getting to help if you were bleeding. It was going to be hours. It was going to be like a solid 2.5 hours to get to like the guy who has like the thing that clamps your fucking artery off. That guy with the clampy forceps thing. Like he's 2.5 hours away, and he's asleep or probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My last trip was like that. I was going through Death Valley and BLM land in Nevada and California, and it's like I don't think there's another human within 80 miles of me right now. And what the land itself, like I don't think I talk about on the show, and it blows my mind that I think you could have changed the year by 500,000 years. It could be 500,000 years ago, and there'd be no difference. Like you just wouldn't even notice the time changed. This place is so untouched by people.
Maybe.
The U.S. is huge.
You talked about how scary it is to be 80 miles, no people near you, and that thought going through your mind. What's scary though is to have that thought and then hear someone off in the woods, and maybe hear someone if you heard someone go la 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 Ricola, you would reply back with a Ricola because that's funny shit, and that's a jovial man who's in his 30s to 50s.
Because he remembers those cough drop commercials.
He remembers the cough drop commercials, and he's taking advantage of the mountain canyons acoustics. But if you heard Pazuzu, you'd be like, "What? I don't think I'm gonna pack up. Let's just rev on the fuck home."
What if you just heard like echoing of like
You know what I heard?
Like little giggles, like those Asian scare. No, not sexy, spooky.
This is why I got into guns. I used to go off-roading, and because I live far away, I'd camp there the night before, whereas other people would drive up there that morning. Cool. Yeah. I'm camping in the woods by myself in Kentucky, and I think I'm totally alone. And no one's supposed to be here. And by the way, there's no running water. There's no reason for anyone to be here. It's supposed to be just me. I think I'm all alone. And I hear a guy say, "Hey, there's a tent there." I'm like, what? How many are out there? What are their intentions? Yeah. Why are they here? What is that? I can't win this.
So I said, "Hey, everybody, look. I heard somebody. Get your guns."
Hey, Cletus, this looks like one of them city slicker things. A nice REI. I wonder if there's a wealthy fella right there.
No, from inside the tent, you yell, "Hey, everybody, get your knives. I hear some people."
Everyone, formation!
Pattern A.
It happened more than once. Another time, a stick broke. Why did a stick broke? What's big enough in the woods to be breaking sticks? Is it a human? Is it a cat?
Yeah,
coyote.
I've spent a lot of time in the woods. Like,
okay,
for 3 or 4 years in a row, I spent every morning and every evening of the fall. Right, like every day of deer season, I would go morning and evening, like 3 hours each. And you'll hear so many things that are weird. And it's like you said, it's like, what broke stick? Yeah. I'm armed. I'm ready to go. Like, come on, stick breaker. Step out. Break my stick. I can
break your broken stick.
Come on. We break all kind of sticks up in here. I break some back. It's like what the fuck is break? Like, but I think that it's usually just like weight of a limb, actually, like a limb collapsing on itself, like some really rotten stuff is all I can figure. And obviously acorns and shit falling. But I've never heard anything in the woods that I couldn't eventually kind of wrap my head around what that must be. There's some weird birds down here that make squawking noises, like it can sound like a screech. It can be weird. And I guess there's bobcats. I saw that one on our little trip, and I know that those make a scary screech, but I've never heard one. I've only seen one once.
In Kentucky, there's, I don't know my cats that well. Bobcats, mountain lions, wildcats, or whatever, but there are those.
Okay. Yeah. Bobcats are
one of those.
About 35 pounds, and they have like that bobbed tail, you know, that like little,
yeah. And they
like
scream.
Yeah. Mountain lions.
I can take it.
So this is one of those where like mountain lion, whether you say mountain lion, cougar, puma, or like 2 or 3 other things, you're essentially talking about the same thing, but it's that big fucking predatory cat that kills people. The one that looks like a miniature lioness. The ones that they have in like Southern California. Yeah, the big boy over there. They have those in Southern California and in the Southwest, and plenty it down like south of the border, and those will fucking kill you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's like,
What's that noise
it's got traps.
It's my fucking dog. She won't shut the fuck up. She's just yap.
She doesn't like that you're talking about all these cats.
Wait, Zach, I didn't see all the cat stats.
There were cat stats?
Yeah, there were cat stats. Put the cat stats back up.
Rats.